And here is the playing hall for Millionaire Chess. $1 million guaranteed total prize money. First time ever in the history of chess. It's a nice playing hall. It's a 7-round tournament. I was lucky enough to participate in it. You're going to see some of my games here, all 7 of them. And at the end of the 7th, after the 7th game, I will do a little, I call critique of the tournament. Both good things and things I think that need some improvement. But anyway, it was a great playing hall. It was a great site in fabulous and exciting Las Vegas. Had a great time. Hope you enjoy the games. And here are some pictures from my trip to Las Vegas for Millionaire Chess. There's the Bellagio, Caesar's Palace, the Mirage. $1 million guaranteed prize money. First time ever in the history of chess. Just want to show you some pictures from off of Las Vegas Boulevard. Beautiful hotels, beautiful buildings, cabs everywhere. It's like New York. You can get around anywhere you want to. There's a Caesar's Palace on the right. Just wonderful. Another picture of Caesar's Palace. See a little reflection there. It's up on a bridge with glass behind it, reflected a little bit off the glass. Bally's down Las Vegas Boulevard again. Place is running 24/7. The economy is booming. I'll tell you, this is the epitome of capitalism, folks. So I thought it was a great place. I wish I could spend more time there. Probably a little too hot in the summer, but... And there's Donnie Marie, voted #1 performers in Vegas. Very personal friend of mine, very close, and she loves those guys, so I got that picture for her. There's the Bellagio again, and we go down to, there's the gondolas, those boat rides, and beautiful buildings, beautifully landscaped. I mean, I'll tell you, I know the economy's tough in the United States, but if you can't find a job here, you can't find a job anywhere. Encore again, building off a view off a bridge. A lot of traffic, but it's very pedestrian friendly. They stop all the cars for the big intersections for the people to get through, and there's a waterfall there outside of a hotel, and there's me smiling away excuse me, on a nice bright sunny day in Las Vegas. I call that the Needle. I guess you can go up on top of that. Another picture of the Wynn Hotel. Steve Wynn, the big entrepreneur in Vegas. Trump Hotel in Neiman Marcus right next to it there. The Mirage with the Beatles show. And you see Caesar's Palace in the background. And poor Mario there, I cut his head off. There he is. There's Mario. There's people dressed up all over the place. Pirates, showgirls, you name it. The only thing I didn't see was Darth Vader. And there's the Eiffel Tower restaurant. Pretty cool place. And Britney Spears' Piece of Me show. Now, I'm not a big Britney Spears fan, but I went to the show and it was really, really good. I'm glad I went. It isn't just a concert, it's an actual show. And she did very well, and so did everybody else that was in it. And there's a picture of the airport, me leaving Las Vegas. So there it is, a little picture tour of Las Vegas from when I was at Millionaire Chess in October 2014. Just want to add on the end of the video, when I left the airport, I took some pictures as I was leaving Las Vegas. And you see outer Las Vegas there, all the new homes, all the new development. I mean, place is booming. Entertainment industry and gambling fuels a lot of money. So money brings people, and people brings economy. And look at this place. It's just amazing stuff. As we're passing over Las Vegas, we head into the mountains. We're on the far end of the Grand Canyon. Unfortunately, I was on the wrong side of the plane to get any pictures of the Grand Canyon, but this is the end of the Grand Canyon. Pretty beautiful stuff. Desolate, you know, it's funny how a desolate area can look beautiful. And some more there, some more pictures. More pictures there of the landscape. You see the curve of the picture of the airplane there on the right. As we get higher in the mountains, and higher in the mountains still, as we get towards the central United States. And those are the pictures. So the rest of them are from my Las Vegas trip at Millionaire Chess. Hi folks, John Cordisco back again. Here's my game from round 3 of Millionaire Chess, played in Las Vegas in October 2014. I'm in the under 1600 section. It's between myself and, let's see how bad I can butcher this guy's name, Chandrasekhar Mani. Mani's his last name, so M-A-N-I. So I'm white and Manny is black. Let's get to it. It's going to be a Queen's Gambit declined, which I've been trying to play lately. Instead of e4, I'm just tired of Sicilians. Maybe I should just go to Sicilian Marcosi bind. We'll see. Bishop g5. That was a move the computer didn't like very much. It's calling for e3 to close in the bishop. I thought this would be smarter, get the bishop out before I go e3, but apparently not. And went from a little over a half pawn advantage for white to a quarter pawn advantage almost for black instantly. e6, e3, bishop e7, so it worked out for me. Queen to b3. Actually, I'm looking on here now, and the top 3 moves on the computer are all very close. And b3 is one of them, so that's okay. Knight f3. Black castles. And I go bishop d3. I'm not playing too badly, to be honest with you. Bishop g5 was a little off, but hey, I'm not a opening theoretician. I'm only a 1550 player. Anyway, so I'm looking at this now. It's not too bad. I'm in pretty good shape. Computer calls for h6 or d takes c4. He went knight to b6. Now, c takes d5 is a suggested move for the computer. And a very close third is, or second now, is c5. And I kind of like that because I'm getting some space on the queen side. He's got to move the knight back. Now, he's pretty cramped right now. His bishop on c8 can't move. It's pretty stuck there for now. I mean, he's going to really have a hard time if he tries to open himself with b6. So I'm really okay. I castled. Queen calls it queen to c2, queen a4, the top 2 moves. I didn't want to move the queen again, so I castled. Back on queen to c2, h6, bishop f4, knight h5 is the continuation, with the bishop eventually going on e5. But I castled. He went e5. And I was afraid of that. I remember sitting there and I'm looking, going, oh, now it's a chance to go e5. And I'm kind of screwed, because I really don't want to take on e5, but I have to. He goes e5. It calls for d takes, but I played knight takes, and then d takes. Figured there wasn't much difference. He backs off the knight. I trade bishops on e7. Now, I got a tiny advantage, but considering how I've been playing the first 2 rounds, this is the first round in day 2. We played 2 rounds for 3 days, and then on the 4th day, you play a single round. And it's fairly long time controls. 40 moves in 2 hours, and a sudden death 30 minutes, with a 10-second delay. No increment, but a delay. f4 looks really good right now. And I thought about that. I didn't want to open it up, and I probably should have. Close second is queen to c2, and that's what I did. He went g6. Now that compromises his position a little bit around his king, which is fine by me. I went f4. Now f6 is a suggested move with knight takes c5 as second. He took the knight, or excuse me, the pawn with the knight. Now, I think I'm okay here. I really am. I've got a pretty good center. I've got some pretty good space in the center, and on the king side, I'm sitting okay. Rook a to c1, rook a to e1, get the other rook in. I went e4. And I really don't know what I was thinking. I was thinking if he pushes, he's in trouble. And if he takes, I've got a really strong center. So I went e4. And he goes d4. I go, okay. Go knight to e2. I'm thinking, oh, it's not the end of the world. Eventually I'll get these pawns pushed. Bust open if he takes. Or take here, bust open his king side a little bit. So this battery right here will be okay. Eventually he's going to have to take the bishop, which I guess I can live with. Knight takes, queen takes, c5. Tiny advantage for black here. I think I'm okay. The position isn't nearly as complicated with the minor pieces we just exchanged. He's got a really strong center. I have to be careful. But my pawns here, they're not nothing to sneeze at either. Here, here, and here. b4, the computer likes. That's actually not a bad suggestion. b4. And if he takes, of course, I get this pawn here, and I got a really strong center. Let's see how this works out. I should have put my rooks into play earlier, and I didn't. I moved the queen again. Probably not a good idea. And now he decides to go f5. Now, if he had gone b6, the computer suggestion, queen to d3, I go right back. I should have just stayed there and brought my rook over, but I didn't. He went f5. After I went g3, he went f5. Now, which pawn do you take with? Do you take with the pawn on e5 en passant? Oddly enough, the top move on the computer is queen a3. And now that I look at it, it makes perfect sense. Queen a3. If he takes, knight takes pawn. And he can't take because the queen is in pre. Didn't see that. That would have forced him to waste the move. Instead, I took not with the pawn on e5, with the pawn on e4. Keep my pawns connected. He plays rook takes. Now, if he had taken with a bishop, the computer likes queen a3, rook a to d8, knight to g3, which actually isn't bad. After rook takes, I moved the queen again. I don't know why. I still didn't go b4, because now the knight can take the pawn on d4 if he takes. Excuse me. And I moved the queen again. It does stop him from moving to b6, that's for certain, because the rook's in pre. And I've got a tiny advantage now. I've crawled back in this position. I'm feeling okay. That past d4 pawn isn't that bad yet of a concern for me. He goes bishop e6 just to get the rook out, I think. And I took the computer move, which I'm pretty proud of, knight to g3. Now it's showing there the idea where the knight's going to go, and that's exactly how it went, because that's a good spot, f6 for that knight. He went rook to f7, I went knight to e4, he went rook, and I played knight checks. Now this is a good game so far. Considering the other two games that I played, I think this is much better. Much better. He's got to be careful for the attack on his king. Computer likes king to h7, but he went h8 instead. Now, the move I made in retrospect, right now I'm on the edge of my seat, at least internally. I'm trying to restrain myself because this looks like I got a decent attack coming if I can put it together. And considering the other two games, I was pretty excited. So I just went for it, g4. Figuring I'm going to go here next. He'll have to take. Pawn takes. Bishop backs up. I got a really good attack going. He decided to go b5. He's getting his pawns further down the board. And I'm not getting that worried yet. Now, queen to c6 was the computer suggestion. Queen here. I always say, what to do, what to do. Choice number 2 is h3 or rook to f2. I went h4. I figured I'm going to open up things. And he goes d3. These pawns are slowly creeping down the board now. I'm going to have to be careful. But I'm thinking, don't play too cautious, John. Just, go for it. Now, rook a to d1 was a suggestion on the computer, and I actually go along with that. Rook to f2, both. And I went rook to f2. So at least I got the computer move. And he plays c4. Here they come. I mean, if you're from America and you're a little bit older, you remember Space Invaders. With the Space Invaders coming down the video game, and that's what it seems like with those pawns coming down. It seems like Space Invaders. Now, right now, there's a tiny advantage for black. I'm not too worried about the pawns yet. I think I've got some time. And this is where I think I make my mistake. When I should move the queen, I don't. Queen to e3 was the suggested move on the computer. That one I really don't understand. I went h5 instead. I went for it. And queen to e3 according to the computer, and it says white can hope to live. Now, I'm not sure what he means by that because I don't think I'm in that much danger yet. These squares are all very well covered. He can't advance yet because of this pawn. h5, he plays g takes. Now instead of taking back, I played g5. I'm trying to put pressure on him. I mean, I'm thinking things like now, pawn, bishop will move. Maybe pawn takes after, queen takes after that. I'm not really sure. I thought I have a pretty good attack. It's a small advantage, a little less than a pawn for black at this point. But the computer showed if I take with the knight, bishop takes g4 and it's over. After queen takes, rook to g8, and I lose the queen, and that's the end of that. After g5, bishop f5. Now that's a good spot for that bishop. It helps with the king here, because eventually you can go here and guard both these pawns, this one and this one. And it's also guarding, keeping an eye on the d3 pawn. Now this is where I blunder. It's funny, I moved the queen too many times earlier. Now it's time to move the queen to c6, and I don't. But rook to d1 seems like such a natural move, and the computer jumps to an over 2-point advantage now for black. My thought was, guard this square right here. I've got it guarded with both rooks. It's like a very natural move to me. Excuse me. He goes b4, here it comes. Now I go queen to c6. Get behind the pawns, but it's a little too late. He plays rook to c8. Now that bishop is beautiful. It's guarding that square, it's guarding this pawn, and it's guarding this pawn here. I mean, that bishop is doing a ton of work. Queen to f3, queen to d5, and I trade queens. And that's the end. After pawn takes, rook to d8 going after the pawn. I can't defend it. So I push the pawn, excuse me, and he goes c3. And that's the beginning of the end. I go rook to e1. What else can I do? I mean, king to h2 is computer's choice. B takes, but it's coming anyway. I knew it was over. Go to the computer, B takes, and then after B takes, a3. It's the last chance for counterplay. I'm going to have to give up the rook. After rook to e1, he just went d2 and I resigned. To give you an idea what would have happened after d2, rook to d1, rook takes, knight takes, rook takes, it's over. So after d2 I resigned, and I'm thinking to myself, wow, wow, wow. First game I played really crappy. Second game I should have won, but drew. And here I am in round 3, traveling almost all the way across the country. And I've got a half a point to show for 3 rounds. And right now I am so demoralized. I was so upset. I couldn't figure out what was wrong. Anyway, folks, we'll see. 4 more rounds to go. Let's see how I do. Hopefully be better than the first 2 games. This game I played okay. It's just at the end I miscued. And that's the way it goes sometimes. So look for the other 4 games coming up. And I want you all to remember, if you think chess is just a game, you're not playing it right. Take care, folks. Bye-bye.
Chess is a game of concentration and skill. Some may consider chess old-fashioned, but it's alive and well in Broome County this weekend. Today was the 5th annual Broome County Chess Tournament in Binghamton. Players from across the area stared at their pieces, calculating the right move. The tournament's organizer calls today's turnout decent, but he says he misses the days when the competition was full.
But for sit-down tournaments like this, it's hurt the numbers a little bit because people can play online, but it's still the most popular game in the world, still.
The youngest player in the tournament was Raymond Wong. He's an 11-year-old from Ithaca. He isn't ranked yet, but his competitors say he's one of the best in the area and a player to watch in the coming years.